The moment my sister pressed that ultrasound photo into my palm at her gender reveal party, smiling like her whole world had finally come together, I knew I was holding proof that her world was about to shatter into a million pieces. Before I get into what I saw on that image and how it changed all of our lives forever, make sure you're subscribed to Anonymous Confessions and hit that like button. These real family drama stories hit different when they hit close to home, and trust me, this one hits the closest. I'm a radiologist. I've spent 15 years staring at grainy black and white images, looking for the things most people pray they never find. I can spot a shadow, a density, a shape that doesn't belong from across the room. So when Lena handed me that ultrasound with tears already welling in her eyes, asking if I thought her baby girl was perfect, my brain registered the truth before my heart could catch up. And what I saw made my blood turn to ice water. The backyard was drowning in pink and blue. Streamers twisted around the fence posts, balloons bobbed against the patio cover. Our mom was passing out little cups of candy, while Dad filmed everything on his phone like Lena was carrying the second coming. She was 39, same as me, but she'd always been the soft one, the one who cried at commercials, the one who still believed in signs from the universe. I was the fixer, the steady one, the one who held the flashlight while everyone else panicked. But standing there in that backyard full of laughing neighbors and the smell of burgers on the grill, I couldn't fix anything without destroying her completely. How do you tell your sister the baby she's been singing to, the baby she's been painting a nursery for, the baby she's already named, isn't really there at all? I looked at the image again, hoping my eyes had tricked me. They hadn't. The shape was wrong, too solid, too dense. No clear fetal pole, no gestational sac, just a mass, a thick, terrible mass where a baby should have been floating in fluid and light. My fingers went numb. Someone handed me a plastic cup of something sparkly. I think I smiled. I think I said thank you. I don't remember. Lena bounced over to me, one hand resting on the curve of her belly, that belly she'd been cradling for months like it held the whole future. "Are you crying?" she laughed, bumping her shoulder into mine. "You never cry. Is the pregnancy hormones getting to you through osmosis or something?" I forced a laugh. It sounded hollow in my own ears. But she didn't notice. She was too busy glowing, too busy being the star of this perfect afternoon she'd planned down to the last detail. How do you watch someone you love walk toward a cliff knowing you're the only one who sees it? If you've ever had to keep a secret that felt like it was burning a hole through your chest, hit that like button and share your own story in the comments. Anonymous Confessions is a place for all of us who've been through the unthinkable. I slipped the ultrasound into my pocket and spent the next hour pretending. I refilled drinks, I nodded along while Lena's best friend talked about her own pregnancy cravings. I watched Ethan flip burgers at the grill, glancing over his shoulder every few minutes to smile at his wife like she'd hung the moon. He was a good guy, solid, the kind of guy who showed up early and stayed late. They'd tried to get pregnant years of disappointment, years of hope, years of quiet heartbreak, and now here they were, finally celebrating. Except they weren't celebrating a baby, they were celebrating a tumor. The countdown started. Someone was handing out noisemakers. Our dad stood on a chair with his phone aimed at the big balloon tied to a string, the one filled with pink confetti. Lena was laughing, eyes squeezed shut, hands over her ears. Ethan stood behind her with his arms wrapped around her waist, kissing her hair. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. All I could see was that image burned into my brain, that solid mass that was about to steal everything from them. I caught Ethan's eye across the yard. Something in my face must have shone because his smile flickered. I tilted my head toward the house, just once. He frowned, confused, but he nodded. While everyone counted down from 20, I slipped through the back door into the laundry room. The music was muffled in here. The walls hummed with the dryer running a load of towels. A minute later, Ethan slipped in, pulling the door shut behind him. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." I pulled the ultrasound out of my pocket and held it up to the light. "That's not a baby," I whispered. The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might pass out. He grabbed the washing machine to steady himself. "What do you mean it's not a baby? She's been feeling kicks. I know what she thinks she's felt, but trust me, Ethan, I've read 10,000 of these. That's not a pregnancy. It's a mass, a tumor, and it's serious." He stared at me, eyes empty, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Outside, the crowd roared, the balloon popped, pink confetti drifted past the tiny laundry room window, cheers erupted. Someone was crying happy tears, probably Lena, probably our mom. Ethan sank onto the dryer, head in his hands. "We just popped the confetti. She thinks we're celebrating our daughter." "We can't tell her here," I said softly. "Not in front of everyone, not like this. But we have to get her to the hospital tonight." A knock made us both jump. "Are you two hiding from the fun?" Mom's voice, light and teasing. "Lena's cutting the cake." I opened the door just enough to smile. "Be right there, just grabbing something." Mom nodded and floated away, oblivious. Ethan looked at me with terror in his eyes. "What do we tell her?" "Tell her I drank too much. Tell her I need a ride. Anything. We just need to get her out of here." We went back to the party. Lena rushed toward us, pink confetti in her hair, face flushed with joy. "Where were you? You missed it. It's a girl, Maeve, a little girl." I hugged her. I felt her belly press against me, and I felt my soul crack right down the middle. Ethan stepped in. "Hey babe, Maeve's not feeling great. I'm gonna run her home real quick. Save us some cake?" Lena pouted but nodded. "Feel better, okay? Text me when you're home." I promised I would, a lie on top of everything else. In the car, Ethan gripped the wheel like it was the only thing keeping him upright. I called Dr. Harper Lang before we left the neighborhood. "Harper, it's Maeve. I need you at the hospital. It's my sister. Something's wrong, really wrong." "Bring her in," Harper said. "I'll be waiting." We drove back to the party 20 minutes later. I stayed in the car while Ethan went inside and told Lena I was worse, that he needed to take me to urgent care, that she should come along because we might be a while. She agreed because she trusted him, because she had no reason not to. At the hospital, Harper took one look at the ultrasound and her face went professionally blank. I knew that look. I'd worn it 1,000 times. It's the look you wear when you're about to deliver news that changes everything. They did a full workup, blood work, a real diagnostic ultrasound. Lena lay on the bed, holding Ethan's hand, still confused but not really scared. Not really. Then Harper brought in the oncologist, Dr. Blake, a man with kind eyes and a gentle voice that somehow made everything worse. Lena stared at the screen. "Where's the heartbeat?" she whispered. "I don't see the heartbeat." "There is no heartbeat," Harper said softly. "Lena, there's no baby. What we're seeing is a large ovarian mass. It's solid. It needs to come out as soon as possible." Lena didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just folded, like someone had reached inside her and pulled out every bone. "I talked to her," she whispered. "I read her stories. I bought her clothes. I named her." Ethan broke down. I stood in the corner, useless, watching my sister's world collapse in real time. They scheduled surgery for dawn. I stayed all night, pacing the hallway while Ethan slept in a chair beside her bed. When they wheeled her into the OR at sunrise, she reached for my hand. Her grip was weak, but her eyes were clear. "Don't let them get away with it," she whispered. "I won't," I promised. 3 hours later, Dr. Blake came out with his mask hanging around his neck. She did well. The mass was large, but contained. We removed it cleanly. She's going to recover. Relief hit me so hard my knees buckled. But the fight wasn't over. 2 days later, pathology confirmed the tumor was benign. Lena would heal physically, but emotionally, that was a different story.
I started digging into the boutique ultrasound clinic where Lena had gone, Nest and Bloom Imaging, a keepsake place between a frozen yogurt shop and a nail salon. Their website promised high-def baby previews and early gender accuracy. No mention of licensed sonographers, no disclaimers, just packages and promotions and glowing reviews. But buried in those reviews were cracks. A mother who'd been told she was having twins, only to find out one twin was an empty sac. A father who was promised a boy and delivered a girl with a chromosomal disorder they never mentioned. Michael, whose wife nearly died after they missed complications. Amber, whose ectopic pregnancy went undetected until she almost bled out in her apartment. How many women had been lied to? How many thought they were carrying something real? I compiled everything: screenshots, testimonies, medical records. I called
The State Medical Board. I called a journalist named Talia Grant who exposed healthcare fraud. And then I went with the board to shut Nest and Bloom down myself. The owner, Candace Doyle, stood behind the counter in her pink-walled lobby full of stuffed animals and fake medical posters. When she saw the badges, her smile faltered. "This facility is operating without licensing," the board investigator said. "You're ordered to cease all services immediately." "This is just for fun," she sputtered. "People know it's not medical." "My sister believed you," I said, stepping forward. "She heard a heartbeat from a tumor. She nearly died because of your fun." Candace went silent. The trial took months. Lena testified, voice shaking but steady. "I loved a baby who never existed because someone handed me a picture and told me she was real." The verdict came back guilty on all counts. Candace was barred from operating any health-related business and ordered to pay restitution. She left the courtroom in handcuffs. If stories of justice and healing are why you're here, make sure you're subscribed to Anonymous Confessions. Hit that like button and drop a comment below. Your stories matter here. Months passed. Lena healed slowly, unevenly. Some days she was okay. Other days she wasn't. Ethan learned when to hold her and when to give her space. Our parents brought casseroles and awkward love, and I showed up whenever they needed me. Then one night, Lena called. Her voice sounded different, steadier. "Come over," she said. When I got there, Ethan opened the door with red eyes and a smile. "She's in the living room." I walked in and froze. Lena sat on the couch holding a tiny bundle wrapped in a yellow blanket. A baby girl with dark eyes blinked up at the room, like she was still deciding if she belonged here. "This is Sophie," Lena whispered. "We finalized the adoption this morning." I sat down beside her, touching Sophie's impossibly small hand. It curled around my finger. "You saved my life, Maeve," Lena said, leaning her head on my shoulder. "All of this, it's because you chose the truth." The room was quiet, except for Sophie's tiny breaths. And for the first time since that party, I felt peace settle into my bones. Lies would have taken my sister's life, but the truth, brutal as it was, made room for something real to grow. And that's where the story ends. Thanks for listening.